Ever felt like you were living someone else's life?
Hmm.
Kind of putting on a mask for the world?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the feeling we're going to dive into today
Okay.
with American Gigolo.
Interesting.
Not the movie, though.
Right.
We're talking about an electronic dance music track,
Oh, okay.
but with like some serious depth.
Gotcha.
So we've got the lyrics right here in front of us,
Yeah.
and let's see what they can reveal about identity, choices, and,
Yeah.
those consequences that always seem to catch up.
And it's really interesting that this whole story is being told through electronic dance music. Like when you think about it, those pulsating rhythms, all those synthesized sounds,
Yeah.
it all creates this atmosphere of
Dope.
nightlife, energy,
Yeah.
maybe even some, fleeting connections. It's like
Right.
the genre itself is actually like
Yeah.
setting the stage for all the themes we're about to unpack.
Totally.
Yep.
And right from the start, we meet this character, the American Gigolo, and he's looking in the mirror,
Uh-huh.
but he's barely recognizing himself.
Wow.
It's like he's already lost in this role that he's playing,
Interesting.
caught in the game,
Mhm.
walking through the shadows of a world that sounds
Mm-hmm.
pretty darn cold, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then there's this line,
Okay.
perfect smile, hiding what's within.
Oh, yeah.
What do you make of that contrast?
Oh, that contrast is key.
Mm.
It immediately tells you that there's just so much more to this guy than meets the eye.
Yeah.
On the surface, you've got,
Mm.
this alluring figure,
Yeah.
someone who it seems like everyone wants a piece of.
Right, right.
But then beneath that, that perfect smile,
Yeah.
there's clearly a struggle going on.
And it gets even more intriguing, I think, when we hit that repeated phrase,
Mhm.
shades of gray.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It pops up
Wow.
throughout the song like a warning sign almost.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking it's not just about, the morality of what he's doing,
Right.
but also the emotional toll,
Yeah.
the blurring of lines.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're definitely spot on
Yeah.
about the morality piece. I
Oh.
mean, you can almost feel
Yeah.
that he's operating in this world where
Yeah.
right and wrong get a little hazy.
Yeah.
But I think shades of gray also points to something a bit deeper. It's like the psychological complexity of losing yourself in a role.
Yeah.
It's like, have you ever heard of those actors that get so deep into a character
Yeah.
that they then have trouble separating their real selves from the performance?
Oh, wow. That's
Kind of like that.
that's a great comparison.
Yeah.
And speaking of losing himself,
Right.
the lyrics talk about like selling love and how
Yeah.
it takes its toll.
Mm.
He's trapped in these games that people play,
Yeah.
chasing a thrill that never seems to satisfy. I mean, can you imagine
It's
feeling so empty
Yeah.
despite being, surrounded by desire?
It's a powerful paradox, isn't it?
It is.
You can really see how he's kind of gradually losing himself in this role,
Yeah.
becoming almost like a commodity instead of an actual person.
Right.
And the song keeps coming back to that mirror image.
Yeah.
A face in the mirror you barely know.
Mm.
It's like he's actually looking at a stranger.
That line gives me chills, seriously.
Yeah.
And then there's this other layer
Okay.
where he's got everyone wanting a piece of him,
Yeah.
but he's still wanting more.
Mm.
I initially found that confusing.
Oh, really?
Like, if everyone wants you,
Yeah.
shouldn't you feel fulfilled?
Right, right.
But I'm seeing now it's
Yeah.
like craving something deeper.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
surrounded by all this desire, but none of it feels genuine. It's all transactional,
Right.
It's lacking that real emotional depth that he craves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though he might seem like he has it all,
Yeah.
there's this like profound sense of emptiness underneath it all.
Yeah.
And that emptiness, I think,
Yeah.
seems to be connected to the price that he's paying for this lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. The lyrics don't sugarcoat the consequences at all.
No.
He's trading his soul,
Right.
haunted in his sleep,
Hmm.
and left wondering, was it worth anything at all?
Wow.
Like, he sold his soul for a life
Yeah.
that's left him empty and full of regret.
Yeah.
What kind of price do you think he's ultimately paying here?
I think it's multifaceted.
Okay.
There's definitely the obvious emotional toll,
Yeah.
the loneliness,
Yeah.
the disillusionment,
Mm.
the inability to like form those genuine connections.
Right, right.
Then there's the potential spiritual cost as well.
Mm.
You can really sense that he's compromised his values,
Yeah.
lost a part of himself in the process.
Right.
And then on top of all of that, There's this whole existential crisis that's brewing.
Wow.
He's questioning the meaning of it all,
Yeah.
wondering if all those fleeting pleasures were actually worth sacrificing his true self.
That's heavy stuff.
It is.
But then we hit the bridge,
Okay.
and there's this shift.
Yeah.
It's like a glimmer of self-awareness is breaking through. He sings about the heart beneath the surface,
Yeah.
the stranger in the mirror.
Right.
Do you think this could be a turning point?
I think that bridge is definitely a turning point. He's starting to wake up to the damage, you know?
Yeah.
He's recognizing the disconnect
Yeah.
between his persona and his actual feelings. It's like he's finally acknowledging that buried heart,
Yeah.
that haunting feeling of being a stranger to himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, is it too late for him to, like,
Yeah.
turn things around?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's played the game, taken the fall, but...
Now there's this awareness.
Right.
Can he actually break free from this whole
Yeah.
cycle he's trapped in?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And the song, I mean, it doesn't really give us a clear answer.
No, yeah.
It ends with this image of the American gigolo alone in the glow of this life
Yeah.
that's become like a shadow.
Right.
It's almost like the songwriters are
Yeah.
leaving it up to us to decide his fate.
Interesting.
What do you think
Yeah.
happens to him after the music fades?
I love that they leave it open-ended like that. It
Yeah.
really invites you to think about the possibilities.
Right.
Can he actually reconnect with his, true self or find, like real connection after all this time? Or is he just doomed to kind of keep
Yeah.
repeating these same patterns?
Right.
It's such a powerful way to end the song, I think.
It really is. And what's so clever, I think,
Yeah.
is how they use a genre often associated with,
Yeah.
partying, good times,
Right.
to explore these like
Right.
dark psychological themes.
Yeah.
It's like the music itself is mirroring the gigolo's inner turmoil.
Right, you get that constant drive, this search for something more, the underlying emptiness.
Right.
It's all reflected in like the pulsating rhythm of the music.
Yeah.
You can almost feel his heartbeat
Yeah.
in the bass line.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about the
Yeah.
female vocalist's voice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's not just singing along. She's adding this whole other dimension to the story. It's like she's an observer,
Right.
like a voice of conscience,
Yeah.
asking those hard-hitting questions.
Exactly.
Like, who are you now?
Yeah.
Was it worth anything at all?
Yeah. That's a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
Her voice brings in this, sense of longing, questioning, almost like a Greek chorus, commenting on his tragedy.
Right, right.
And it makes you empathize with him,
Yeah,
It reminds you that beneath that polished facade,
yeah.
there's a human being
Right.
grappling with real pain.
Which brings me to, I think, why this
Yeah.
song is so impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about
Yeah.
this one guy.
Right.
It's about the masks we all wear,
Right.
the choices that we make
Yeah.
in a world that often feels superficial
Yeah. Yeah.
and, well, kind of transactional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a story about the search for meaning.
Right.
In a world that sometimes feels meaningless.
Yeah.
And it really makes you question,
Mm.
are we living in a way that truly fulfills us?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we just chasing,
Yeah.
empty pleasures,
Yeah.
sacrificing our own happiness for something that ultimately leaves us feeling empty?
So you're saying,
Yeah.
even if you've never stepped foot in a nightclub,
Mm-hmm.
never even heard the term gigolo before,
Yeah.
this song can still speak to you.
Absolutely.
Mm.
At its core, it's about the human condition, the need for authenticity, connection,
Yeah.
for a life that aligns with our true selves.
Yeah.
We all struggle with that,
Yeah.
whether we're playing the role of,
Right.
a high-powered executive
Mm-hmm.
or a stay-at-home parent.
That's so true. I mean, we all wear masks
Yeah.
to some extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we lose ourselves in those roles.
Right.
This song is like a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
urging us to examine like our own choices,
Yeah.
desires,
Right.
to ask ourselves, are we living a life that's truly fulfilling?
Yeah. It's a question I think we all need to kind of ask ourselves because, in the end, the Gigolo story,
Right,
it isn't really that different from our own.
right.
We all make choices,
Yeah.
some good, some not so good. And I think we all kind of face the consequences of those choices.
Right. And what I think makes this song so powerful is that it doesn't really offer any easy answers.
Right.
It just presents the Gigolo's story, his struggles, his regrets.
Right.
And then it just asks us, like, what do you think?
Exactly. It invites you to kind of draw your own conclusions. There's no judgment, no preaching.
Right.
Just this like raw, honest portrayal of a man who's lost his way and is, trying to find his way back to himself.
And that's what I love about this deep dive into American Gigolo. It's given us like a glimpse into this complex character, someone who, like, on the surface seems to have it all.
Right.
But underneath, is struggling with some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's honestly made me think about, like, the choices I make,
Yeah.
the masks I wear, and whether I'm really, like, truly living a life that aligns with my values.
It's a really powerful message, isn't it?
It is.
It really kind of stays with you long after the music stops, I think. Makes you think about, the kind of life you want to live, the kind of person you want to be.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this one thought.
Yeah.
What really resonated with you the most in these lyrics of American Gigolo?
Right.
What did you see in that character?
Yeah.
That maybe, you saw in yourself? And what do you think happens to him after the music fades?
Yeah.
Does he find redemption? Does he change his life?
Yeah.
Or is he, destined to stay lost in those shadows?
Those are the questions that I really hope, you'll keep asking yourself long after this deep dive is over.
Right.
Because the answers, they're not in the song.
Right.
They're in you.